Good morning. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is conducting hearings at headquarters in Baton Rouge. Today's date is 11/13. The time is now 8:54, and we're going to day. To do that, I'd like to introduce the staff here.
Francis Abbott.
Also in attendance at headquarters, we have State Representative Beryl Amity from District 51 observing. Our remote site right now is going to be Elaine Hunt Correctional Center. Warden, would you introduce yourself and your staff, please?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Dusty Pickham, Warden.
Christy LeBlanc, classification.
Terry Grady, Director of Medical and Mental Health Services.
Joe Budgers, Assistant Warden.
That's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the first order is to have a revocation hearing. Sir, could you state your name and your DSC number?
Clifford Owens, 334527, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Owen, do you have a piece of paper in front of you that you recognize your signature, that you answered some questions? It's a parole revocation questionnaire.
Yes, ma'am, I have it right here.
Okay, that the answers to those questions indicate that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. So you're going to be speaking on your own behalf.
Ma'am, the lady told me to sign this paper right here. And I did want the counsel to represent me, but I had already signed it. I didn't, she said just sign right here and I signed it. And I didn't understand what I had checked off. I do need counsel.
So tell me which factor makes you eligible. Can you, are you under mental health treatment?
Yes, ma'am, I was taking some medicine, and when I was in California, they got me on some Rembrandt pills now, psych medicine. I was on psych medicine in California also.
Warden, has he been evaluated there at Elaine Hunt for?
Madam Chair, this is Warden Buttress. He is living in our general reception center population. He underwent a evaluation upon reception, but he is not, we're not aware of a formal request for a full mental health evaluation on this particular inmate.
So you're indicating, Mr. Owen, that you feel like your mental health impairment would prevent you from speaking on your own behalf and understanding the allegations?
Well, yes, ma'am. When I was at San Joaquin County Behavioral Health Center, they did an evaluation on me, 8/7/2024. And San Joaquin Correctional Center Healthcare did one 7/17/24. I have evaluations before I came to Elaine Hunt's. I've been evaluated.
And then
outside.
makes you you're not comfortable representing yourself?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, I'm not.
Okay, based on your response to that information, then panel, I would find that he needs to, that we vote to step him aside pending a formal psych evaluation and make sure he has appointed counsel.
I'd like to see, he just reading from a piece of paper. I hadn't seen anything that he got. And he was sane enough to plead guilty or no contest to some things in California, and they took his plea out there. So I'd like to see what he's got.
Yeah,
This
can
was,
they,
this was after the fact. Outside physician, San Joaquin County Behavioral Health Services did an evaluation on me. The address is 1212 North California Street, Stockton, California. And San Joaquin County Correction Center Health Services did an evaluation on me too also.
What did they say? What the evaluation say?
I don't know. I don't know what the evaluation was. I don't know, what the evaluation was, but I was on medication. Dr. Abraham gave me some medication, some psych medication. I was on medication in California.
I'd like to call for an executive session.
Second. Third.
Jerry Ledoux,
Yes.
Danny Barros.
Yes.
Steve Free.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's now 9:01 and we're reconvening. The panel, you were charged, I mean, you were told to get a mental health evaluation, and that is one of the allegations against you, is that you provided no proof of completing the mental health evaluation. If you have proof that you have completed it, then we could continue. But you don't have proof from that group. So today we're going to vote and take care of the appointed counsel. So my vote today would be to continue this hearing upon a complete mental evaluation, and if appropriate, to have appointed counsel. Mr. Barra,
Concur.
Mr. Prager.
Reluctantly concur.
That was one of your parole requirements, and you failed to do that. So
Didn't, excuse me, Madam Chairman. Never mind. We're back to,
Okay, we had a little technical difficulty. It's now 9:10 and the panel is back in hearing. We need to complete our conversation with Mr. Owens. Mr. Owens, because you were told to have a mental health evaluation upon release, and we have no proof, and you're alleging that you need appointed counsel, we're going to continue our vote. You're going to be continued today. We've already voted. You're going to be continued today. And Warden, if he gets a full evaluation and needs a counsel, then, you know, we'll work through getting that. And then we'll hear you at a future date. And I can't guarantee you how soon that's going to happen. It could be a while.
All right.
All right.
All right, thank you. So
and
that-
before you go, Gordon, I want to tell you, yesterday I complimented David Wade about how professional their hearing looked, and yours likewise looks very professional in the room there, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it.
So that concludes our business with Mr. Owens. And the Pearl panel is back at Elaine Hunt. Good morning, sir. This is the Louisiana Committee on Parole. On my left is Mr. Prater. To my right is Mr. Barra. My name is Ms. Ledoux. We are going to be conducting a revocation hearing. Before we get started, do you have a paper in front of you that indicates that you are not eligible for appointed counsel? Do you see your signature on that paper?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that means the answers to your question indicate you're not eligible for appointed counsel. Do you have a retained counsel? Did you pay an attorney?
No, ma'am.
So, sir, what I'm going to do is read out some allegations against you. And I'm going to ask you for a plea of guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement. And we will ask some questions of you, okay? Sir, I find that you've been accused of violating condition number 3 of your parole. You were, your whereabouts were unknown until 2018. You absconded parole supervision. You were arrested in Beaumont, Texas on 7/6/2024, and you were in another state without approval of your supervising agent. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Mr. Weathersby, based on your answer to that, I don't see any reason to continue. You knew where you were supposed to be and you weren't there, correct? Okay. You were actually supposed to be in Mississippi at one time and you were found in Texas.
No, I went to Texas. I was going to Texas for that one day to see a friend's niece was sick, but I was staying in Meadville, Mississippi, at 287 Adams Lane. I didn't stay in Texas. I was going to Texas, and they ID'd the car when they pulled it over.
And they pulled you over for what? Why did they pull you over?
Oh, my brother-in-law went up the one-way street in Texas. That was the first time in Texas. And then, you know, out there, they ID'd the whole car. And they ID'd and seen where I was wanted and
Right.
I was standing.
We have a saying, you can't supervise someone you can't find.
Yes, ma'am.
Do either of my colleagues have any questions?
I have a question.
No.
I'm sorry this is short and sweet, sir, but absconding is a very important violation, okay? So my vote today is to revoke your parole. Mr. Barra
I vote to revoke parole.
and Mr.
I concur.
Fraser. Okay, sir. So today your parole has been revoked.
They do
Hey, the parole committee is back at 9:29 today. We're going to be hearing a medical parole. Sir, can you hear me?
Hey, right, just talking to you, he's talking to you right here.
Yes, ma'am, I hear you.
Okay. I wanted to introduce the panel today. To my left is Mr. Prater. To my right is Mr. Barra. I'm Miss Ledoux. I'm going to read some information in into the file, and then we're going to ask some questions of you and the medical team there. So what is your name and your DOC number?
My name is Peter John Dupre. My DOC number is 4176080.
Okay. Mr. Dupre, you are currently incarcerated as a second-class offender. You're serving a 22-year sentence for indecent behavior with a juvenile. You have a parole eligibility date of 8/18/2029, adjusted good time date of 1/12/2039, and a full term date of 8/19/2041. Can you tell me why you're before me today?
Can I tell you what, ma'am?
Can you tell us why you're here today in this hearing? Do you know what this hearing is about?
Yes, ma'am, because of what I've done.
Okay, and why are you here asking for parole before your date? Do you know what's going on in terms of medical parole?
No, ma'am, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. So Warden, would you like one of your staff to explain the situation to the panel today?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to defer to Director of Medical Services, Terry Gray. Hello.
Hi.
So Peter is a 65-year-old white male, extensive medical history, but to really get down to what he's in here for currently, or the reason we put him up for parole today. He arrived here in February of this year after having a couple of different strokes, one in particular which caused some severe left-sided hemiparesis, weakness, and not inability to use his left side. So much at that time that he actually required a feeding tube. He wasn't able to take anything by mouth. He's been housed in our skilled nursing unit since that day. He's been participating in some speech therapy and physical therapy. The speech therapy has helped him with improvement as far as being able to eat. We no longer have to use the feeding tube. He can now take food by mouth. But as far as any activity of daily living, he requires full assistance. If we sit him up in the bed and get him upright, much like he is in the chair now, he can feed himself. But transferring out of bed, going to the restroom, changing clothes, bath, anything like that requires full assistance.
Okay. So the only thing that's really changed is his being able to feed himself.
The only thing, well, since his arrival here at the institution, yes, ma'am, that's the change. As far as what his condition was prior to arrival here, or his condition at the time that the crime was committed, this is with the understanding, the caveat that I don't have immediate access to those records, but my understanding is that this condition was not present at the time that the crime was committed.
Okay. Before we go any further, I would like to note that we have 3 people in opposition to release today. Catherine Boudreau, Melanie Acoste, and Kaylee Boudreau. The victim, Caitlin Boudreau, would like to speak, and it would be appropriate at this time, ma'am, if you would like to address the board.
When Peter did this crime to me, I was 11 years old. I am now 20. And every day it gets harder, it doesn't get easier. He had a medical condition when he did the crime. He had a previous stroke when he did the crime. As you heard, what they told y'all, he did not feed himself. He's obviously getting better. I believe for my sake and my sanity that he should not be granted parole. And if he is granted parole, he should not be allowed to be around any type of children or anyone of that matter. I have a niece. My sister has kids. And I'm terrified of the world, not just of Peter, of the whole world now. I'm always looking over my shoulder. That's it. I don't. That's it.
Thank you very much. I know it's difficult, and I appreciate you. May I ask, what is the residence plan for Mr. Dupre, were he to be released?
Yes, ma'am. We don't have a specific place lined out, given the timeline. It makes it very difficult for us to reserve a bid, and I'm kind of not knowing. But the plan would be to send him to an assisted living type facility, something like Villa Feliciana in Jackson, or in East Feliciana Parish, or possibly Capitol House in Baton Rouge. Those have been places that we've used heavily in the past.
Okay.
I got a question. Are those facilities a DOC approved secure facility?
Honestly, sir, I wouldn't. I know that we have paroled offenders to those institutions in the past, but that would be the best that I would be able to answer that question for you on the security side of things.
Mr. Price.
This is Warden Buttress. I know Villa Feliciana and the other residence plan that he mentioned are not a confinement facility in terms of secure or providing security as far as like a security officer sitting with him, if that's what you're asking.
Well, would those facilities be the type of facility that works with y'all, where if he were to ever walk out the door of the facility, that probation officer would immediately be notified?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we have sent multiple inmates to Villa Feliciana, and we have a good working relationship with that facility.
Thank you.
Mr. Prater, would you take lead on asking questions?
Yes, sir. Mr. Dupre, it's gonna be hard for you to say this, but maybe somebody in the room can. How bad were you when you committed this crime? How bad a shape were you in?
I was in good shape, sir.
Well, you'd had a stroke, is that correct, previously?
I had 3 strokes and heart surgery.
It's talking about prior to now, Peter. I think that's what he said. At the time that you committed the crime, you had not had 3 strokes. Correct, correct. So what kind of shape were you in at that time?
I was able to walk. I was able to do everything on my own.
Can you stand up now?
No, sir, I can't.
Are you taking any kind of exercises or any kind of physical therapy where you will be able to stand up?
I am doing physical therapy.
Yes. Have you gotten better?
Yes, sir.
Good. Congratulations.
With my therapist, I am doing some walking.
I don't have any other thing.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I can see you want to interject.
Well,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, you asked if he could stand. He can stand with assistance. To stand on his own, he would not be able to. Same with walking. If with a physical therapist, with the assistance of a belt helping to hold him up, he can take a few steps. But he can't do either of those things alone.
Toiletry. Where is he with toiletry?
Full assistance, ma'am. So he would require total assistance to get out of the bed, to, any transfers. The only thing that he is able to do independently is if he is in the bed and we sit him up, much like he is here, and we put a tray of food in front of him, he is able to feed himself independently. But everything else requires significant assistance. In most cases, complete assistance.
And just to clarify, a medical parole is contingent upon the offender conducting themselves appropriately within the facility that they're placed. And if they improve significantly, they can be returned to the Department of Correction. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
And will they have someone come by every once in a while to check on their progress?
He will be followed by a probation officer, just as he would on the street. He would be checked on routinely by an assigned probation officer.
Okay. Does he have significant medication that he takes?
Yes, ma'am. I have a list here. I'm not sure how in-depth you would want to get, but just to give you a rough idea, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He's prescribed 13 different prescription medications currently.
Okay, I got it. Maybe some of the staff can help me out here. Say, I'm gonna give a scenario and you tell me how this would be. Say if my grandmother was in the nursing home and this gentleman's in the nursing home and one of my granddaughters wants to go see my grandmother, is she gonna know that a sex offender lives next door? And what's gonna prevent this kindly looking gentleman sitting in a wheelchair from other kids going up to him that may be visiting people at the nursing home? How are they gonna know he's a sex offender?
Mr. Prater, this is Warden Buttress. A villa in particular, houses sex offenders. I can't speak to their specific protocols as far as visitation, but I do know that they take measures, understanding that they do house sex offenders there. So I would imagine that they have to follow, certain guidelines where they cannot allow sex offenders to be around children, or if they even allow children at that facility. I'm not quite sure. But I do know that villa in particular is a residence that we've used in the past for sex offender housing.
All right. I think that we're prepared to vote. Mr. Prater, are you
I
prepared?
would like to call for executive session.
There's been a request for executive session.
Steve Prater,
Yes, ma'am.
Gary Ledoux,
Yes.
Yeah.
Danny Rivera.
Yes.
The committee is back in session at 9:45.
We need to vote, to be back in session.
Do we?
Steve Furtick,
Yes.
Dan Barros.
Yes.
Gary Lew.
Yes. It's time for the panel to vote. Mr. Prater will be voting first.
Yes, sir, it's a very tough decision to make for me for a number of reasons. Without getting into any of that, you have to have a unanimous vote. And so one vote will be enough to deny this. Due to the fact that I'm not comfortable with where you're going to be going, that you will be separated from any visitors or children that are there, I'm going to vote to deny this medical parole.
Mr. Fox.
I'm gonna concur with Mr. Prater for the same reason.
My vote is to grant, with all the stipulations of medical parole control. But on a 2-to-1 vote, your request for medical parole has been denied. The Committee on Parole is reconvening at 9:53. On the panel today, to my left is Mr. Prater, to my right is Mr. Barra. My name is Ms. Ledoux. Sir, can you hear me and understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you please state your name and your DOC number for the record?
G.W. Mitchell, 8745.
Okay. Mr. Mitchell, I'll read a little bit of information into the record, and then we'll do some questions. Sir, you're a fourth felony offender. You're serving a 39-year sentence for manslaughter as well as possession with the intent to distribute cocaine. You are not eligible for parole. You have a good time date of 1/11/2031 and a full term date of 10/30/2031. Do you know why you're before us today?
No.
You've been told that you're coming before us, right?
Yep.
Say yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, ma'am.
And why would you be before us today? Can you help me understand?
I don't know.
Okay, sir, can we go ahead and get a little background on this condition? This is a medical parole that has gone request that's gone through all the chain. Could you give us a background on his medical condition?
Yes, ma'am. 63-year-old, again, he has an extensive medical history, including squamous cell carcinoma, glaucoma, diabetes. The main thing that's hindered him at this point is a cervical disc disease, where he actually had a surgery that has caused him to have some significant weakness. He's been admitted to our skilled nursing unit since January of 2024. He was admitted because of that weakness and some bouts of confusion. Since that time, we've done some physical therapy. Looking through his records, inmate Mitchell has actually not been particularly compliant with the physical therapy, to the point where he has recently told physical therapy he doesn't want to participate. He's just refusing physical therapy. As far as his ADLs, in the bed, he's independent as far as being able to move around and things like that. Outside of the bed, he's a max assist. He's full assistance with transferring, with toiling. Much like the previous person, he can feed himself. He doesn't have any issues in that aspect, but any mobility whatsoever requires assistance. The plan for him would also be, if he was to be granted parole, to send him to an assisted living facility such as Villa Feliciana or Capitol House in Baton Rouge.
For our purpose, would you explain a little bit about, when you say assisted living, are you talking about nursing home?
Yes, ma'am.
Occupation, okay.
Yes, ma'am. That would be a fair term, correct.
Okay, so he won't be wheeling around luxury assisted living.
It would be a nursing type facility. Nursing home, that is a fair assessment, yes.
Okay. Mr. Barra, Warden, do you have any input other than what's been shared on his condition?
Not really, no, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Barra?
Yeah, I have a question about the facility again. I don't know if you're gonna know the answer or not, but it's a shot. What percentage of DOC people are at that facility? Do you know? Is that, in other words, is that where all the DOC guys go, or do they have, mixed general public in there too? Or what percentage?
It's a state-run facility, Borough, and there are other people besides DOC inmates in the facility.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, on this offender, we have the victim's sister, Miss Drusilla Willis, and she is on Zoom and would like to address the panel. Miss Willis, if you'll do so now.
Hi, good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? Yes, I thought my other sisters were gonna show up, but I guess, everybody's working. Um, I agree that, it's time. Our family has forgiven this man, and we're hoping that you guys do grant the parole. And even if he gets better, just let him stay out. I think he's served enough time now. And the condition that he's in, I don't think he is able to harm anyone. And that's
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate that.
Could I ask, Ms. Willis,
yes.
are you comfortable in saying that you speak for the majority of your sisters? I read the letter.
Yeah, we actually had a meeting the other night, and we all talked about, we think he should go. We've forgiving him. One of my sisters, it took her a little time, but we've forgiven him, and it's time for everyone to just move on and let him live whatever left he has of his life out of prison.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Mr. Barra, do you have any additional? I'm gonna ask again, Mr. Mitchell, do you know why you're here today in front of us?
Roll,
Okay, what kind of parole?
I don't know.
Are you going home? Is that what you think you're gonna do, is go home?
I don't know.
Are you trying to go home, or would you go into a nursing home? Okay. All right, at this time, is the panel prepared to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Barra?
Based on the testimony of the witness, I'm gonna go ahead and vote to grant the medical parole with the condition that the facility notifies and keep us updated with what's going on over there.
Mr. Prater?
I concur.
My vote is also to grant medical parole to a facility appropriate with DOC with all of the standard conditions. Thank you so much. Okay, this is our last hearing at Elaine Hunt. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is in session. To my left is Mr. Prater. To my right is Mr. Barra. My name is Miss Ledoux. Sir, would you please state your name and your DOC number?
Yes, ma'am. My name is CARROLL David Sr. My number is 44422.
Okay. Mr. David, I'm going to read some information into the file. You're a first-class offender.
Yes, ma'am.
Received a 30-year sentence for aggravated incest. You have a parole eligibility date that passed of 6/24/2010. You're not eligible for good time release, and you have a full term date of June 28, 2030. This is a rehear for you. So at this point, I would like to ask you, why are you here in prison, and why do you think we should even consider parole today?
Well, ma'am, I cut this short. I made a bad decision in life, and I'm trying to do everything I can to make it right. I've been through all the programs. I did victim opposition. And, that's about it. I'm trying to get it right. I want to do the right thing and submit to all what I did wrong and take responsibility.
Warden, do you have any comments on this offender?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, board. All I can do is speak to what he's done in the prison and looking at his record. And he has a good disciplinary record and has received a lot of credit with classes and such. And I think he helps out with the small engine repairs, the tutor and stuff down there. And not being here too long, I'm not very familiar with him, but that's according to the record.
Certainly, thank you. We have some individuals here in your support. I only see 2 people. Are there more?
No, ma'am. That's only 2 came in.
Okay. So would one of them be Eunice Pistoletto? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And the other person is who?
Well, both of them is my sister, Marianne Martinez and Eunice Pensalata.
Okay. And both have indicated that they would like to speak. And so if you will, at this time, direct your comments to the panel, you can just speak loudly. Whoever wants to go first.
Dear parole members, I'm hoping this letter finds you in good health and high spirits. I'm writing to express my sincere support for the parole consideration of my brother CARROLL David, who is currently incarcerated at Elaine Hunt Center. I understand that the parole board has the challenge, responsibility of determining whether an individual is ready to reintegrate into society, and I generally believe that CARROLL David has made significantly strides toward a positive change and rehabilitation. I have known CARROLL David all my life journey and witnessed his deep remorse for his past actions. Throughout his incarceration, he has taken opportunity to participate in educational and vocational programs and commitment to personal growth and improvement. Also, CARROLL David has shown exceptional dedication, development, and activity engaging in counseling and therapy sessions and attending church while incarcerated. Through his intervention, he has gained insight of his past behavior and worked diligently in addressing and overcoming them. Additionally, I want to highlight a strong support system for CARROLL David outside the prison. His family, including myself, other siblings, and his children, along with close friends and community organizations. We understand the importance of a solid support to promoting stability and positive change. We will help provide housing and help with his employment opportunities and emotional support that he needs. I firmly believe that granting parole to CARROLL David and giving him a second chance to become a positive member of society. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. I trust in the parole board's wisdom and judgment as you carefully evaluate CARROLL David's readiness for parole. If you need any additional information or have any questions, you can contact me or email me at eRunice.pizzoolato@yahoo.com or call me at 225-368-6413. Once again, thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you very much. Miss Mary Martinez, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, ma'am. CARE does have the support that he needs, and we're willing to help him without, taking to and from where he needs to go and, to look after him. He's been in there a long time. His kids are all grown. They got kids of their own, and nobody lives, would be living around where he is, like in that area. So he,
Not around schools or no?
No, and stuff like that. And, he's been in there a long time. We're all he's got left. We're only 4 siblings left out of 13, losing both parents as well with him being there.
Okay. I appreciate you coming in and making those statements. Mr. David, I have just a couple of questions. How many children do you have?
I had 9, one of them died during 2016, and I got 8 living now.
And of those 8, how many are girls?
2 girls.
Okay. Have you had any contact with the victim in your crime?
No, ma'am.
Did you receive a plea agreement on your case?
Yes, ma'am. I took a plea agreement. I pled guilty to the charge. I took responsibility on myself.
Did they, you had 11 counts.
Yes, ma'am.
How many were you charged with?
3.
3 out of the 11.
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
told them I'll plead guilty to 3 because all that wasn't true. I didn't write the statements. They wrote the statements, but I took my neck. I pled guilty to the 3 charges.
Okay. Do my colleagues have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. How many years did you get? How many total years?
They gave me 30 years.
30 years, 15 and then 50. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
How many have you served?
It's close right at 25.
Okay. I hadn't heard you say much about the victim.
Yes, sir. Well, I feel sorry for what I did. I feel remorse for her. I'm doing everything I can to change it, I mean, what more can I do?
Any questions, Mr. Barra?
Where do you plan on living if we were to release you?
Any shelter I go to, or one of my family is gonna support me a place to live. I'm gonna have a place to go.
Has any of those places been checked out by probation and parole as far as school zone, daycare facilities, et cetera?
I don't know, sir. I ain't talked with them yet. My family talked to them, but I ain't never talked to them.
Okay.
I have put in for parole project, but I don't know if they're gonna do anything for me or not.
They're not here today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that all you got?
Yes.
How old was your daughter when this occurred?
13.
13?
Yes, sir.
The whole time she was 13, she wasn't ever 12.
No, sir.
Okay.
Right. If there are no other questions, I'm prepared to vote. Mr. David, This is a very troubling case, and I appreciate your good conduct. I do applaud you for taking all the sex treatment classes. And I appreciate those things. At this time, though, my vote is to deny based on the nature of the crime and opposition by the victim. Mr. Bob Ross?
I concur with Mr. Ledoux for the same reason, but also add the strong law enforcement opposition as voiced in this case also.
Mr. Prater?
I concur with my colleagues.
So today your request for parole has been denied. It's now 10:18 and I think that, yes, sir.
I was telling him, never mind, I'm talking to the board of Butchers, sorry.
So we're going to conclude our business at Elaine Hunt. We thank you for all that y'all done. Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day. Have a blessed.
Hey, good morning. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled in Baton Rouge today. Serving on the panel to my left is Mr. Steve Prater. To my right, Danny Barrock. My name is Jerry Ledoux. We are currently changing facilities and we're at Raymond Laborde. May I ask the staff there to introduce yourself?
Yeah, and just, hold on, not you, but, sorry. Good morning, everybody. Warden Marcus Myers. Deputy Warden Stephen Bordelon.
Raven Heath classification.
Trent Berea, records.
Hey, great. Thank you so much. We're going to ask you, sir, the offender, to introduce yourself and give us your DOC number.
Daniel Steiner, 95687.
Okay. Mr. Steiner, you're before this panel today for parole consideration. You're currently serving a 45-year sentence for manslaughter, aggravated burglary. This is a rehear. You were a 5th felony offender. I have a parole eligibility date of August 1st, 2021. Good time date of February 28th, 2042. And a full term date of September 3rd, 2044. Also, today we have several people who have joined us both in person and on Zoom who are in opposition to your release, and we will get to them. We'll introduce them and get to them in a minute. But first, I would like to ask Mr. Steiner if you could give a brief synopsis of why you're in prison and why you think that today we should give you parole consideration.
I thank God for my life to be in front of the board this morning today. And I'm kind of nervous right now.
Okay, we understand. Just relax.
And I'm gonna take full responsibility for my action. And I'm sorry for putting the victim to pain and suffering for my action. And I'm not the same person I was before. I'm a changed man.
Warden, would you like to make a statement about Mr. Steiner?
Yes, Ms. Ledoux. You know, since his last hearing, when he was denied a couple years ago, he's done the things that we asked him to do. He's completed victim impact, which is a very important course for him to complete. He's completed nurturing parents, inside out dads. You know, I do make a note that he has not had a disciplinary report since 2017, so over 7 years, conduct free. He's done the things we've asked him to do. He does show remorse. In my interview with him yesterday, he's one of my Strive members, which is part of my honor program. So he's been doing good in here.
Let's see if I understand. How old are you? 65?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've served 24 years?
Ma'am.
Of a 45. Okay. I'm going to ask the people here in opposition if they would speak next. We have Philip Jean-Louis Jr. and we would ask him to speak at this time. Sir, if you'll just stand at the podium and direct your comments to the panel. And correct me if I misspelled your name. I mispronounced it.
So first, I want to thank Victims Coordinator, courts. Thank you guys. I appreciate it for the opportunity to be able to speak on behalf of my mother, Lori Babineau, the victim in this case. I also appreciate the remarks from Daniel Steiner. I do appreciate his remorse and what was said, also by Warden. But in opposition, I just want to specifically speak on and stay as objective focused as I can. All right. He's sorry. He's remorseful. But me and my family are still hurting. Right? Unfortunately, I am still unavailable to my family at times. At times, I'm still emotionally disconnected. I still have to relive and think about February 2nd, 2000 and what happened on that day. I was 14 years old. So I didn't have much understanding of what went on at 14. He did. All I could do at that time was do my best to protect my mom in that horrible situation that just felt like it happened yesterday. So when I get calls from Mr. Cole, you know, while I'm on vacation with my family and telling me that we have to go through this process again, of course I'm gonna be here. Of course I'm gonna stand up, and of course I'm gonna fight with everything I have. Let me just try to understand and break this down, how it all went about. Daniel was an ongoing, volatile person. Very volatile. I've seen him, I've watched him put his hands physically on my mom, beat her tremendously. Okay? I keep these records. I keep it all, and I only take this out when necessary. After this hearing, it's going back in the safe because I've learned how to part ways with my past, but also you can't forget it. Okay? This is the ad in the newspaper. Lafayette woman slain. He murdered her on February 2nd, 2000 at 12 o'clock. It was on a Monday. I went to school. He knew I was going to school. Still today, I ask myself, well, what if I would have been in that apartment? What if I would have been home? Would he killed me as well? Would I kill him? How that would have gone? I look at these things just to share how I have to go about it and what it is. Not only that, I have her death certificate. The original copy. I had to learn, okay, what is this and what is entails to? At the back, at the bottom, the cause of the death. It says several reasons, 4 reasons. The last reason, multiple stab injuries to left to mid back. The back. He was trying to run away. That's the only way I could see it. Not only that, at 14, so I was somewhat educated on what a petition is for domestic abuse protection, a protective order, right? We filled one out. It was successful. He signed off on it. And I know I'm intense, but he acknowledged it. I went home and I was like, well, you know what? At least we got something in place that he should follow or he will follow. I have to read it. And you know what? Now is the time. I tried to read it in the car on the way here and I was unsuccessful, but I'm gonna give it another try. And I'm gonna read exactly what my mom said and wrote in this petition. She wrote it. It's her handwriting, and I keep it with me. She wrote it on January 20th, 2000. Between 8:30 and 9 p.m., forced me to drive to Hammond Park. Couldn't get out till he told me to. Pushed me up against the car by my neck, telling me to shut up. I was trying to talk nice, but he kept on yelling. Tried to push me into the bayou, but convinced him not to. I got in the car after he told me. I had to drive him around. Then he took me home. When I got out of the car, I was talking to my son, me, Philip. He was talking to me to call 911. I remember that, y'all. I promise I do. Daughter came out, my sister asked me, she couldn't even be available. I told her to stay back because I knew. Just let me take care of it, right? Let just one person take care of it. Daughter come out nearby apartment and called Daniel's name, and Daniel ran away. I was so scared. I called the police and they came. I went to the police station and filed charges against him. The past incident, if children run around, he would threaten to kill me if he caught me with somebody else. Around Mardi Gras, there was a time I used tired and wanted to leave, and he got mad and kicked me and punched me. He slapped me and threatened me more. This is the first time I was able to get through this. This is the first time I was actually able to get through this protective order because it's in my mom's hand. So the trauma is still there. The questions are still there. The pain obviously is still there. I have a nonprofit now. Everything I do is under my mom's name, the Gloria Project. You can look it up. I appreciate the apology. I appreciate rehabilitation for him. I appreciate the fact that he can still turn around and actually become a great person. I do believe, and I do forgive him. I do. But for me to be able to trust that 24 years later, he would make the right decision if he's ever provoked again? Absolutely not. Keep in mind, I've read records. I've got all public information from his past incidents. We said it, he's a fifth time, 5 times. And the audacity to ask for to be granted parole and back in society. And I'm sure, and I'm done, and I appreciate it. I'm sure we all can agree, and I will never question legal authority and the decisions that were made back in 2000. But I go back and forth with the fact of manslaughter. I go back and forth. Daniel, you knew what you were doing. That's not manslaughter to me. You knew what you were doing. Of course, they had many things that probably took into consideration because I was 14. Only thing I knew at that time was the fact that my mom was gone and I had to learn how to live life. After that, February 3rd, I had to learn how to start living life without my mom, you know? I went in the apartment. After it happened, I went in the apartment, and I'm done after this. I can tell you exactly how that day went. Money was tight. We just got out of the women's and children's home that weekend because we stayed there for some shelter, right? Until we realized, you know what, let's just go back home. We have a protective order. We should be okay. We should be okay. I went to school that morning, told my mom, look, I'm going to school, bus about to come, talk to you when I get off. And that was my last words. I didn't get the chance to tell her I love her. So, for that to happen, you know, again, I'm angry. I appreciate everything that he's done, but no way, no chance. I believe he should get another chance in society. For crying out loud, she had groceries on the ground. She was going to cook for us, right? And you knew it was one of them times when, you know what, money is tight. Pack of chicken, pack of rice, a 1 pound bag of rice, 2 canned goods. So I'm left with the thought of my mom was doing what she needed to do for her children. And unfortunately, that was taken away by this guy behind me. He didn't think of that. He didn't think the fact that she had children to raise. He didn't think that she would have been leaving children behind based off of your actions. He didn't think of none of that. I get it 24 years later, you know, I'm tired. We all tired, but guess what? I still got to keep going. I still got to keep fighting. You know, golly, if I got to do it, guess what? I feel everybody should have to do it. Thank y'all. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to come up and speak. I hope to go home and be able to bring some peace to my family, my friends, everyone that was affected by this situation. Again, I just thank you for the opportunity, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I do want to acknowledge Ricky George, also in Devin Bro in opposition and not speaking. We also have Roya Bastani, the 15th JDC ADA, and would like to give her an opportunity at this time.
Thank you, everyone. And I apologize that I'm at home. I'm actually flooded into my house. I was on my way to Baton Rouge and I could not make it. Full transparency, I was not the assistant DA who prosecuted this case. It is just something that I inherited. And I too, like Philip, will not Monday morning quarterback what was done at the time during, July of 2000. But I do just want to make sure everyone understands that this was charged as a second-degree murder. And while I respect Mr. Steiner's words here this morning and that he is apologetic at this time, I think the board needs to make sure they understand that back in 1986, Mr. Steiner was at that time charged with a manslaughter. And so he spent 17 years based on what I can see on his criminal history. We've been down this road before.
Frozen, we'll give it a minute to see if it comes back on. Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay. We have a whole another family who has been affected by Mr. Steiner's very gruesome attack. And I am so sorry to Philip that he has had to deal with this for so long. At 14 years old, it's such a very important age for a young man. And the facts that I've read going and delving into this case, this is exactly the type of case that Gwen's Law was created to help these women who go and they seek refuge at a women's shelter. Miss Gloria, like Philip said, was at the Faith House that weekend. She had just taken her family out and they were trying to feel safe and secure. And here we go with Mr. Steiner after being already in a relationship with him. The type of crime, the gruesome nature, the stabbing that he did over and over again to Miss Babineau in front of witnesses, didn't even care who he did it in front of. That is all things that I think this board still needs to take into consideration because the safety of our community is still at stake. I definitely believe in rehabilitation. It's something I look for every single day in the work that I do. But Mr. Steiner is not someone who has proven to us over time that he can be trusted to be out in the community. And so my office absolutely opposes any type of release or any type of anything less than what he is already facing. I thank you for telling me that his completed date out was September 3rd of 2044. That date feels like the most appropriate date for what has transpired over Mr. Steiner's history dealing with the criminal justice system. And so we would ask, for any type of release or any parole to be denied at this time. And thank you all for having me here.
Mr. Prater, I'll let you begin questioning.
All right, Mr. Steiner, this won't take long because I don't have a lot of questions of you. I pretty much got my mind made up. But you apply for parole, so you get your say. How do I know you won't get out and get mad at somebody and start stabbing them like you seem to be doing in the past?
No, I ain't planning on doing that. I'm just planning on live a good life. I got nieces and nephews I ain't never seen. And I want to go spend time with them, keep them from coming to a place like this here.
Okay. I don't have.
And my niece had me a place to stay in Kingwood, Texas. And had my job to go to. I was planning on going to church, get a job, and spend time with my niece and nephew from coming from a place like this here.
Okay. That's all I got.
Mr. Barra.
I have no questions.
Mr. Steiner, I do want to commend you on your taking advantage of all of the rehabilitative tools at your disposal. And I'm appreciative that since 2017, your conduct has improved dramatically there in the facilities. we're gonna go ahead, I want to make a note that you were charged with second-degree murder, and were pled down. So, Mr. Prater, do you have, are you ready to vote?
Yes, I am. Daniel, I won't make it long. For one thing, I'd like to just, tell Philip what an impactful statement that was. I think that every domestic violence shelter, center, DA's office, police department, I think everybody ought to hear this hearing today. This is a perfect example of several things. One thing being, and I always said this as sheriff and as police chief, a piece of paper does not protect a woman on a domestic violence situation. It is a false sense of security. I'm not saying don't go through the process. Do go through the process. But it's a false sense of security. And so I appreciate, Philip, all your words. I took them very much to heart. You could see I was engaged in everything you said, because I've seen it time after time after time, but I don't think I've ever heard it as succinctly and impactfully as you put it. So I appreciate those words. My vote, of course, is to deny.
Mr. Bob?
I also vote to deny based on the serious and heinous nature of the crime you committed, the law enforcement opposition, the victim opposition, and your criminal record before that crime.
My vote is to deny based on the history of violence. It seems like you had multiple revocations and increasing violence over the years. So today my vote is to deny. You have been denied, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, the parole board is back in session. Sir, today, the parole panel that you're going to be visiting with is to my left, Mr. Prater, to my right, Mr. Balron, Ms. Ledoux. Could you state your name and your DOC number for the record, please?
Michael Alexander, 102841.
Okay. Yep. So, Mr. Alexander, I'm going to read some information into the record. Sir, you are currently serving a 10-year sentence with possession with the intent to distribute cocaine. You have an enhanced habitual designation. You are a 5th felony offender. You had a parole eligibility date, April 3rd, 2022, a good time date of 10/3/2028, and a full-time date of 10/2/2029. I noticed that you have earned 420 days of good time credit. What I'm going to do now is ask you, why are you before us today? Why are you in prison, and why do you think we should consider early release?
I'm in prison because I sold cocaine, well, try to sell cocaine. And why should I be released? Because I don't think like that anymore. I don't even want to be around cocaine anymore. I basically changed my whole thinking about being incarcerated. I got locked up and I lost my family, my mother, my brother. And it's just that it seemed like it's just not going anywhere. It's just trouble.
I do want to make note that actually we do have a new master prison record, and you are a 7th felony offender, not a 5th felony offender. So classification reviewed that, and you are a 7th felony offender. Warden, would you make a statement regarding Mr. Alexander?
Okay, yes, ma'am. I don't have that updated.
Send one over. It was done this last week.
Okay.
It might have ran through Cypress and they found new stuff.
Okay, well, I mean, that kind of, 5th, 7th is, it's not good, and we talked about that, he and I, in his interview yesterday, but, he has participated in drug counseling classes, completed our living in balance, all phases of that. He's currently enrolled in our victim impact program. He has 2 weeks left to complete that. So obviously my recommendation would be that no matter what the board decides today, he complete that. I am happy to be able to say that since his last hearing, we wanted him to achieve his GED. He had struggled with that for a while, and he did do that. He did accomplish that. So, that's a positive thing on his part. And he is also a Strive member, which is, again, my honor program here. So he's doing good in this current situation.
Is he currently receiving mental health treatment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to let Mr. Prater start the questioning.
Okay. Mr. Alexander, good morning, or I think it's still morning. Good morning. 7th felony offender. Some of those cases in the past have been violent crimes like shootings and robberies and battery on a police officer, violent offenses like that. What's wrong? What's wrong with you that you've had 7 times that you've been convicted of felonies? That's a lot. What was wrong with you then, and what's changed?
Okay, sir. I got convicted in '82 for shooting. And I did my time, but since then I never picked a gun up again. It's been since '82. battery on a police officer and the robbery, I don't know nothing about all that. All my charges since then have been, possession with intent of possession. I never had, robbery. No, not me.
What's different now?
Oh, sorry. See what you asked was different now is my mindset. I mean, I was young, acting crazy, thinking I want to live forever. But I also realized that if I was to come back, my chances of dying in jail is real good. And I don't want to do that. I mean, I've been a burden on my family, my wife, my kids. I want to show that I can do better.
Okay, let me ask you something. This last time, how long were you out of jail before you got rearrested for this latest felony?
It was 6 months or something like that area.
Okay, so you were just out of jail. Were you on parole at that time?
Well, I thought I wasn't there, but the DA told me I was.
Okay, and you got arrested again. How old were you then?
60, I think.
Okay, you were 60 years old and you still out there slinging dope. That's
I was slinging the dope to support my habit of smoking the dope. I've been addicted to crack since 95. So I mean, I haven't accomplished anything by selling dope, but jail.
well, you're charged with possession with intent to distribute. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Yes, sir.
Because I read all the police reports and everything else, and you weren't given, and this is a misconception that many people have, is that you're dope smoker, so you're getting 10 years in jail. That ain't true. That isn't true. You're charged with 3 counts of possession with intent of cocaine, with Suboxone and cocaine again. You got 10 years on each count of that. So you're not just a low-level dope smoker. Okay? So that's what, I just wanted to make that clear. You were charged with possession with intent to distribute. And did you plead guilty to those?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I'm not far off. You weren't just a dope smoker. I just wanted to make that clear. You ever heard the expression, you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
I heard it.
Okay, you 60 years old and you still out there, as I said before, slinging dope, selling dope. How do I know that you only served how many years have you served on the 10-year sentence?
I've been down since 19.
Okay, so you've served half the time on a 10-year sentence. You're a 7th felony offender. How do I know that you're not gonna get out and start selling dope? And people say, because we don't have any victim opposition here, because people say, well, it's a victimless crime, but it's not. I mean, look at yourself. You saying you smoked dope, so you did all these bad things. So it's not a victimless crime. No, although we don't have victim opposition. So why should we let you out? You got a history of violence. You got a history of selling dope. You got a history of reoffending. You got a history of not acting right when we let you out. You're an older person. You're 60 years old and you're still doing this. Now you're 65. How come? Convince me I can trust you.
Sir, I'll be 67 in 3 days. And I don't want to die in jail. I know I done some things I had no business doing. I'm sorry for that, but I really don't want this life no more.
Yes, sir.
I got a wife, I got kids, I got grandkids. I just had time to think about all that. I just want to go on to my family.
Okay, that's all. See, let me make sure. What kind of contraband did you have in jail in 2021?
A cigarette.
Okay. Because you were two different times you had contraband in 21. Both those were cigarettes?
Okay.
Okay. That's all the questions I got, Madam Chairman.
Mr. Barra.
Yeah, not really a question, just to clarify things. You have been arrested for robbery 3 different times. 10/18/78, 12/21/96, and 9/18/89. That was 3 different robbery charges that are on your record right now. You know, you may not have been convicted of them, but you was arrested for all of those charges. In fact, you know, can't say I don't know nothing about robbery. You had 3 arrests. And then when it comes down to your criminal record, you've been arrested 35 times, charged with 59 crimes, and 7 of those crimes were against the person. And you've already had multiple periods of supervision, and you only got revoked once. That's good. You committed your first crime when you were 24 years old, that we know of, and you committed your last crime when you were 60 years old. So all of those crimes fell in between there. So you had a pretty active criminal record. So just to clarify that up, I don't really have any questions. I can see right here what you've been up to.
Mr. Alexander, I don't have any questions. I think the panel is prepared to vote. Mr. Prater.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Alexander, I appreciate you getting your GED, appreciate all that you had to say. I know you don't want to die in prison. I don't want you to die in prison either. Okay, so we'll agree on that. But with your history, I just can't trust you when we have to balance the public safety with prisoner rehabilitation. And I just can't let you out on an unsuspecting public. I don't trust you. And so for that reason, I'm going to deny your parole.
Mr. Barra.
I'm going to concur with Mr. Prater.
Mr. Alexander, I would like to vote for you. I'm not going to today, but I don't think that, I think that there's a certain thing called criminal menopause. I think you're to the age you should know better. I just hope that you don't come back. Okay. I really don't want you to die in prison either. So my vote today is to deny. Thank you so much.
And Ms. Ledoux, this is Randy Meyer at the DA's office. Just for the record, we were opposed to his request as well.
Mr. Meyer, thank you. And I apologize that I did not call on you sooner. My apologies.
No problem. I couldn't get that button pushed quick enough.
My apologies. Thank you so much. Okay, the Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled in Baton Rouge. On the panel today, to my left is Mr. Prater, to my right is Mr. Bob Robb. My name is Ms. Ledoux. Sir, would you please state your name and your DOC number?
Cornell Jones, 466989.
Okay. Mr. Jones, there are people here, joining us on Zoom that are both in favor and opposed to your release. And at the appropriate time, we will recognize them and allow them to make a comment. But at this time, I'm going to read some information into the record and then ask you a question. So, sir, I find that you're a first-class offender, currently serving a 40-year sentence for manslaughter. You had a parole eligibility date 10/14/2021. You have a good time date of 10/17/2034 and a full term date of 10/12/2041. This is a rehear for you. And at this time, I'd like to ask you, why are you here in front of us today? What was your crime? And why do you think we should afford you an early release?
First and foremost, I would like to apologize to the Henderson family for all the pain and hurt that I've caused them. I know there's no words that can undo the harm that I've caused. And I fully understand the impact of my actions is something that they live with every day. I made choices that were not only wrong, but devastating to their loved one. And I'm ashamed of the choices I made and deeply pain that I caused so much hurt. But for the past 23 years, I've committed myself to reflecting on the harm I've done, the harm I've caused, and working to become a better person. I've enrolled in counseling, participated in a number of self-help programs for living in violence, drug education, AA, victim awareness, victim impact, anger management, 100 hours of pre-release, 2 voc technical trades I've taken. All with the hope that I can atone for my wrong. I know no amount of personal change can erase the pain that I've caused so many people. But I'm committed to making amends in any way that I can. But also, I want to dedicate my life contributing positively to society and honoring the member of family. Who was my girlfriend and I loved so much. And as I sit here today, I'm not that same careless, irresponsible person that I once was the day this crime was committed. And I hope that you can see who I am by my rehabilitative efforts during this time of incarceration. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Well spoken. Warden, this time, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, Mr. Do. You know, Cornell called out pretty much all the things that he's done as far as his programming, and, you know, he has done quite a bit. He's done, you know, everything we've asked of him as far as that's concerned. He's a Strive member, again, honor program member. You know, the biggest thing I can say about him, and, you know, first and foremost, let me just, you know, apologies, my deepest sympathies to the victim's family, as always, but, you know, it's my job just to speak on what he has done since he's been incarcerated. The one thing I have to note is, you know, he's been incarcerated for 23 years and has never had a disciplinary report. And as you all know, that's very, very hard to do. It's very hard. I mean, I made the comment on it whenever I was interviewing him yesterday. I mean, we had one, I think it was you were on that board a few weeks ago that it was like that. And very, very few that I've seen over my 34 years of doing this. So that's impressive. And it tells me a lot. It says that he does not have a tendency, I don't feel, to be violent, because this is a place that, unfortunately violence takes place. So he's conducted himself well, and, I have to commend him for that. And I do think that is a reflection of
We have a number of people on Zoom. 3 wish to speak in your support. You have Sabrina Hartman, Michael Godin, Dennis Sanders, and Melvin Boone. The first 3 are speaking. I'll go ahead and let Sabrina speak first. Sabrina on? Okay. And unmute if you will.
Hi, I'm Sabrina Hardman. I'm Cornell's sister. Cornell has been gone 23 years. He's been incarcerated 23 years. And I do apologize to the family. I can't speak for him, but I understand the hurt that you guys miss your sister. I understand that. I really do. I can empathize with that. I can. And I understand where you're coming from. I understand that Cornell has did a lot to try to rehabilitate himself. The courses he's taken, the measures he's taken to try to get himself to be a better person and be a changed person from when he went in. During his time, he's taken trades and things like that to try to get himself ready to be re-released into society. He's had no disciplinary actions, as they stated previously, which is really, that's commendable. And I get that. And that's something that goes very well for his time being incarcerated. I think he is ready. I think he's taken enough measures to try at least to get himself re-entered into society.
Thank you for those words. At this time, then, Michael, if you would like to speak. Can't hear you. I'm on mute.
Hello?
Yeah, you gotcha. Yeah.
Okay,
Gotcha.
okay. Yeah, my name is Michael Guyton. I was born and raised with Cornell, and I've been supporting him since he's been down, and I did time myself. I've been home 15 years now, and Lord and bless me, I've been on my job 15 years, and I just like to see Cornell come home and I can help him out, still on the right path. I think he'll be a productive to society.
Very much. And I'm glad you've been successful.
Thank you.
Dennis Sanders.
Yes, my name is Dennis Sanders. I'm also a good friend of Cornell's, been over 50 years. Cornell has never been a violent person, so I knew he could lick that part. I'd like to help him re-enter himself into society. I have a 3-bedroom home, so he has a place to stay. I am a 3PL operational manager at Murphy Bonded Warehouse, so I could try to help him get a job and help him with his transportation. And, I like to say I know deep in his heart, Cornell loved Pam, and he deeply regrets what he's done. And also, he really feels for the family, as we all do. You know, I just want him to be released, and if I can help him at any point and any time, I'm here for him. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to allow the those in opposition to speak next. On Zoom, we have Mary Adam. It's Van Ross, Joy Thompson, Mr. Bell, Miss Vanessa Bell, and Rachel Kennedy. We're going to let Ms. Adam speak first.
Was that Miss Adam? Oh, okay. I'm the victim's sister. My name is Mary Henderson Adone, and I don't think Cornell should be released. I actually reached out to Cornell because I wanted to make an effort to extend forgiveness to him, and Cornell is still alive. He still says it was an accident, and I think he haven't had any incidents because there are no women in that prison. He's a coward. He needs to stay where he is for the duration of his time. Even if that's good, he did the things that he has done, but he got 40 years without the possibility of parole. Ain't nobody exempt from punishment. I don't care how good you are. That was his God-given punishment. I prayed for it, and he needs to stay there for the duration of his time. He did not love my sister. You don't kill people that you love. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Neil. Ms. Vandross, if you would like to speak now. Vandross, are you with us? Okay. We'll skip that. And Mr. Tim Bell, the victim's nephew. You're on mute. If you can unmute. Okay, try again. We can't hear you. Should he call? Are you connected to the audio? You can hear me, but I cannot hear you. We're going to call you on your phone. If you'll just disconnect and we'll call you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Good.
You can hear me? Good. Hey, listen to me.
So go ahead. Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yes.
All right. I appreciate. Listen to me. I don't know what y'all got going on. I know that's y'all boy, whatever, that's your people. But and you're gonna say he's not violent. But I'm gonna tell you something, he killed somebody. That's violence. And like I told you, he don't even know who I am because I was young, you feel me? But you took my ain't it, bro. And listen to me. You don't know. I move in silence. You just don't know.
You have to speak to us, not to the offender. Okay, so direct your comments to us.
I'm gonna say this here. I'm gonna say this is what I gotta say. I'm not a Bible thumper, but everybody here can respect the Bible. You understand what I'm saying? And the Bible say that Exodus, that life for life, tooth for tooth. You understand what I'm saying? In Galatians 6, it say you reap what you sow. So he should have been thinking about all that when he went with his move. You understand what I'm saying? So look, he took a life, He need to be in there for life. He shouldn't even got no 40 years. And that's how I feel. He should have been thinking about the consequences, the repercussions of the situation. Because we don't have a loved one no more, man. That ain't what's happening. She dead and gone and she ain't coming back. Mr. Breeder, you said, I understand what you're saying, you feel me? You did say that you sorry and everything, but you ain't losing nobody. If you in the situation, you wouldn't want them out either.
You have, okay. Sir, we're not listening to you if you're going to be addressing someone else in an aggressive manner.
Being aggressive is facts. He shouldn't get out. Bottom line, he should not get out. Bottom line, you read what you saw, he should have been thinking about all that. He should never be able to get out. She wasn't able to have a life. She wasn't able to enjoy her family. She wasn't able to have kids. She wasn't able to have a career. He took all that from her, and he took her from us. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your comment. Okay, did we get Ms. Vandross connected?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hi, Ms. Vandross. If you can make your statement directed to us.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning?
Okay.
I just want to say that the impact of his actions has, I don't think anybody can understand the impact of those actions. I mean, for 23 years, we have been without a loved one. And I understand, the receiving of counseling, and I applaud that, him receiving counseling. But I'm pretty sure there were people around him that knew he had a propensity for these actions. And if they, and if services would have been given to him before we got into this situation, then we wouldn't have been here. And my sister would still be here to be with her family, to see her nieces and nephews grow up, to see us grow. I mean, we have grown so much as a family, and she has missed so much. And we would have loved for her to see and to grow with her. And as far as, him never having a disciplinary action against him, I would expect that much, because his actions, was against a woman, someone he claims he loved. There's no women there with him. So I expect for him to be violent. I expected for him to have an exemplary record, because his action wasn't against someone like him. And like I said, he may have been incarcerated for 23 years, but his family still has him. They can still talk to him. They can still see him. We don't have that opportunity. All we have are pictures and memories. We can only talk about what could have been and what was. There's no future for us to talk about with Pam. I mean, and to know Pam is to love her. I mean, gosh, I mean, I don't know why, how anybody could get so angry with a person and do that, and then still say you love them. And then, like I said, you just can't understand the impact of actions that has on a family. I mean, our hearts are forever broken. Our family is forever broken. There's a missing piece. That puzzle is never going to be complete. And I just want y'all to understand that. And I appreciate you guys letting me talk before you guys today. I mean, there's so much to be said, but my emotions are just everywhere. And some things are not coming out, probably not coming out the right way, but I just need you guys to understand that we are lost without her. My children, they'll never meet their aunt. They only see her in pictures and ask about her. And I can only tell them with tears in my eyes and sometimes a smile on my face about her and how much she would have loved y'all and how much love she would have had, because she loved the kids. She loved us. She loved being with her family. She was just a ball of joy to be around.
We appreciate you you putting yourself through this to visit. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask now, Mr. Barra, do you have some questions of the offender?
Yeah, but before I ask him a question, let me help you out. They had asked you at the beginning of the thing to tell us what you did to end up in jail, but you skipped that part. So I'll just go ahead and fill that part in for you. You were arrested by the Shreveport PD when an officer heard a single gunshot come from a nearby residence. The officer spoke with you. You told the officer that you had shot your girlfriend, Pamela Henderson, in the back bedroom where they found the victim on the bed, shot once in the head. She was pronounced dead at the scene. A .32 caliber pistol was located. The coroner reported that the victim had been shot through her hand and the same bullet entered her head, killing her. Jones claimed the shooting was an accident and the gun fired when he pulled it out of his pocket. However, the victim's brother stated the couple was involved in an argument at the time of the shooting. So my first question is, what were y'all arguing about that could end up so horrible?
No, I had came in from over a friend's house watching the football game. Watching the Saints and Carolina Panthers football game. And when I walked in, Pam had already prepared stuff prepared. She wanted me to go warm up. And I was telling her that I was walking on the crutch. I had hyperextended knee. And I told her I wasn't going warm enough. That was what we was exchanging words about. I wouldn't say an argument because the police officer was next door. So I wouldn't say it was an argument, it was a disagreement. But she was laying in bed on the far side when this happened. When I was taking the gun out of the discharge. The discharge hit me in the face, went through my hand and hit her. On the other side of the bed.
So she died over a football game that you went to instead of being her?
No, I'm saying that's when the gun discharged, when I was taking it out of my pocket. Unaware, just careless, not knowing how to handle a weapon. And when the discharge went through my hand and her.
What you pull the gun out for?
See, that's really, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough of him and his animations in the background. You know, the inmate's right has a right to a fair trial, to a fair hearing. And this is
Right. We're cutting him off. We're cutting him off.
not appropriate. He's not appropriate.
We have just removed him from the panel. Thank you very much. We appreciate and understand and agree.
So basically what you're saying is it was an accident.
Basically, that's what I'm saying, yes, sir. When I pulled the gun out, I never knew it was, I wouldn't even been handling it careless like I would. Had I known there was a live round in it. She was on the other side of the bed, laying back with her hands behind her bed, behind her back, laying down when the gun discharged.
Why were you pulling the gun out?
I was getting ready to lay down. I was telling her I wasn't going to pull it up.
And the part about the brother saying there was an argument, you saying he just misunderstood that part of it?
Probably heard us going back and forth when she was asking me to go down there and I was telling her I wasn't going.
All right. My other questions were gonna be about your residence plan, your reentry plan, your work plan, but I think your friend already said he's gonna let you live with him and he's gonna help you find a job. Is that what your plans are? That's his plan?
Yes, sir.
That's your plan too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all the questions I had.
Mr. Prater.
No, ma'am, I don't have a question.
I know this is in your history, but who was the victim of the three simple batteries that you pled guilty to right before this instant offense?
They were against her.
They were against her. Okay. So there was some history of.
Yes, ma'am, drinking, ordering.
Okay.
So police come out and I did.
So Is the panel prepared to vote?
Yeah.
Mr. Bowler?
Well, taking into consideration everything that I've heard today, I must add to it before I vote that the judge is opposed to this case, the district attorney is opposed to release, the sheriff is opposed to release, the chief of police is opposed to release, and the attorney general's office is opposed to release based on the violent nature of the crime. And then we have all the victim's family opposed to release. With all that opposition and the record of arrest before the crime actually occurred, I have no choice but to deny parole based on law enforcement, family opposition, and a violent crime committed with a gun.
Mr. Reiner?
I concur.
Mr. Jones, there's nothing that you can do to change opposition. And I believe that you've done everything that you can to be prepared for reentry. I know that you've worked hard. I feel like you've demonstrated remorse. My vote is going to be to deny, but I'm going to, it's a unanimous decision, but I'm going to make note in the record that I encourage you to write back when you're, when it's time for you to write back. And we'd be given, consideration for what you've done while you've been down. So don't lose hope, keep up your good conduct. But today you've done, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're back at Raymond LaBorde, and for our next hearing, we have before us Kelvin Thomas. Mr. Thomas, would you restate your name and give us your DOC number?
Kelvin Thomas, 4783.
Okay, now that we know who you are, let me introduce our panel today. To my left is Mr. Prater, to my right is Mr. Balrog. My name is Ms. LeDuc. I'm going to read some information from your file into the record. And then we are going to talk with you and the warden, and then we'll get to there are people there with you in support. We also have some people in opposition. So, sir, I find that you are a second-class felony. You're a second-class felony, and you are offender, and you're serving a 45-year sentence for manslaughter habitual. You have parole eligibility date that passed 10/24/2022. So this is a rehearing. You have a good time date of 3/30/2045 and a full term date of 3/25/2045. Does that sound correct according to your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, would you tell this panel why is it that you are incarcerated and why we should give you a chance for early release?
I was incarcerated for the killing of Mr. Vince Basile. I committed a crime, a heinous crime, selfless crime that I should have never committed. And I'm very, very sorry for my actions. I went into a plan with some guys to rob a store. And in the process of doing so, I attempted to go into the store, to rob the store, and in the process, the seal got murdered. At the time, I was young. I was under the influence when it actually happened. And I really wasn't myself. I wasn't thinking correctly. And everything I've done in the past, dealing with this crime that I committed, I'm very, very sorry and remorseful for. It's something that I would never, ever do again. It's something that I don't ever want to nobody to go through, the family to go through, because it's a hurting feeling. I've been through classes since I've been incarcerated. I have with the victim impact, which taught me a lot about being in the other person's shoes. And being in the other person's shoes is not a great feeling once you have someone of your family member taken away from you or your friends. It hurts. And going through these classes have actually taught me how to place myself and look at the other person's reality of what they go through. It's the fear that I place into the communities. I didn't only take a man's life, I took family member, I took a loved one. I hurt not just the family, but I hurt the community. It's now that the community can't really, they go to sleep worrying sometimes maybe behind what may happen if they even go to work or they leave out their house. They worry about these things. And I learned that my actions caused all of this. And I was remorseful for it. My time in here have only taught me how to give myself to people, how to better myself and understand my life is to be lived for others, not to ever really distinguish anything. And to be released, I have a lot of opportunities that I had in the past that I never took upon. I have a great, large, extended family that's equipped to help me in all possible ways that I need. My biggest problem back then was not relating to people. I didn't know how to go to people with my problems. I didn't know the denial that I had alcohol or drug problem. And I never knew actually how to relate to it, nor how to go to people and describe to them what was actually going on in my life. I had my mother, she was always there for me, supportive, but I never knew how to go to anyone. And classes taught me that all I have to do is stand up, go to these people and ask for help, and it will help me. I have been into facilities to where the officers will help you with advice that you need. And now I know how to go to people, ask for help, and be led and directed in the right path. I have a job lined up. I have a job working in the florist. I have another job working construction that's lined up. I will be going to live with my mother. I have plans to return back to school and go to college, but I also would like to do things in the community to help people as I have been doing for the last 10 years, 15 years since I've been incarcerated. I have a steady job here. I work in the kitchen. I've been working in the kitchen for the past 10 years. I love work. I love dealing with people. I love helping people. And that's something that I have to contribute back to the community. And I can never say that I'm sorry enough for the pain that I have caused it. And I'm deeply sorry for everything that I caused the family, the friends, and the community. My family, my children, my grandchildren. I put something into somebody's life that I can never give back. Life is sacred. Life is something that if I was taught that if you don't have the power to give something back, don't take it. And I took a life. I did something that no man should ever do. And I'm truly sorry.
That's well said. Warden, would you like to make a comment regarding?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Ledoux. As always, first and foremost, my deepest sympathies to the victims' families. As far as Kelvin's history while incarcerated, he has done quite a bit. He's taken a lot of rehabilitation programs. Since his last hearing when he was denied, he's taken living in balance, all phases, victim impact, which I listened to him talk here, and I think he really paid attention in that class, and he got a lot out of it. And these guys, they usually do. That's a great class. He has no conduct history since 2013, so over 11 years without a disciplinary report, and that was only the third report in all the years that he's been incarcerated. So, his conduct is good. He got his GED while he's been incarcerated. He's done a lot of positive things, and I think he's on the right track. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to hear from your mother, Wanda Thomas. And Ms. Thomas, if you can you can sit where you are and just project as loudly as you can, or you can move over by your son, however you want to do it.
Good afternoon. My name is Wanda Thomas. I'm his mother, and I'd like to give my deepest sympathy to the family. And I pray daily for the family. I'm a Christian woman. I'm coming from a Christian environment all my life. And I believe in my son. It has been rehabilitated here, and he's able to go into the community to help others. And I stand with him by his remorse, and I would do anything I could to help the other family if I could help them. But I think my prayers have went a long way helping them. So I do plead to the court that my son would have another chance.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You also have Leona Knox, your cousin, and she wishes to make a statement.
Yes, my name is Leona Knox. He is my cousin. He has done good. I plead to the family. I'm sorry for what happened and everything. Plead, and I have been praying that they allow him another chance in life and everything. And I'm out here to help him in every way I can, do anything I can to help him.
Thank you very much. We do have on Zoom Charles Basile, who would like to speak, who was the victim's brother, is the victim's brother.
Tell them what you want to say.
You can just tell us what you want us to know, Mr. Charles.
Well,
I think the guy should stay in prison the rest of his life, in my opinion. He murdered my brother for no reason at all. And it's a sorry dude, that's all I got to say about him. He's so sorry. He should be in prison the rest of his life. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Tamika White with the 21st JDC victim advocate and Scott Parole, the DA. Who will be speaking?
Good afternoon. I guess I'm going to be speaking. We were waiting to get on and Mr. Perlew had to go to another appointment. We're just standing in opposition and supporting the victim's family. This was a heinous crime. They laid and they waited for the victims and they killed someone. So we are supporting our victims in their request to have him remain in jail. Not only that, he was filed as an habitual offender. So we're going to stand with the family in opposition.
Mr. Thomas, were you pled down from a second-degree murder to manslaughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How old were you when you committed this crime?
22.
And you had some co-defendants, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And where are they today?
One is 3, and the other one is in Angola.
So they're still serving time for this as well.
Mr. Matthews is he's no longer incarcerated, and Mr. Johnson is incarcerated in Angola.
You have 5 children?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever provided any kind of help for them?
Yes, ma'am. Since I've been incarcerated, well, before I got incarcerated, one was living with me, and when I got incarcerated, went back to the moms. And since I've been incarcerated, I did what I can do through family to help and assist the children, and I basically raised them from prison to actually give them what they need to not to fall in the wrong footsteps or do the things that they shouldn't do. But yeah. I did basically my best that I can.
Do my colleagues have any questions?
You had a 45-year sentence, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how many years have you served from the time you were arrested?
Sir.
How many years have you served?
23 years and 8 months.
23 of them 45. Okay.
And you're currently about 47 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Thomas, I believe in rehabilitation. I believe that people can do better and that they have within them the power to change. However, today, my vote is going to be to deny, not to continue punishing you. Yes, it is, because a life is very valuable. And 23 years, you know, is not that long. So my vote today, based on the nature of the crime and the opposition, is to deny. Mr. Baba.
I'm going to concur with Ms. Ledoux, but I have to commend you. You did do an excellent statement. You represented yourself well. I believe you're taking responsibility and showing remorse for the crime you did. which is all great steps in a positive direction. So I'm gonna have to commend you on that. But I'm in the same boat with her is 23 years out of 45 is only 52% of your sentence. And a man was murdered. And you already got a real good break when you got to plead second-degree murder down to manslaughter. Because in my opinion, what you did was a first-degree murder, committing an armed robbery and killing a man during the commission of a robbery. So you've already had several breaks, which I think you are taking advantage of and doing the right thing. But today is just not your day at 23 years. I suggest that you keep on doing exactly what you're doing, taking all the classes you can, build yourself up. You said something about trying to get a college education. I've seen guys coming from prison with college credit, so you might want to look into that while you're there and get a jump start on that while you're in there. But today is just not your day. I encourage you to keep up what you're doing though and apply again at your earliest convenience.
I concur with everything that each of you said. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Keep up the good work and reapply.
Thank you, Mel.
Good afternoon. The Committee on Parole is going to be hearing the next offender at Raymond LaBorde. On my left is Mr. Prater. To my right is Mr. Balra. My name is Ms. Ledoux. We're your panel today. Could you please introduce yourself and give us your DOC number?
Roy Manasco, 420380.
Okay. Mr. Manasco, you're before this panel as a first felony offender serving a 30-year sentence for first degree rape, aggravated oral sexual battery, aggravated burglary, and theft. Oh, excuse me, attempted rape. Sorry about that. You have a parole eligibility date of 5/28/2024. You're not eligible for good time, and you have a full term date of May 26, 2029. Does that sound correct according to your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to, you do have some people who are here in your support on Zoom. But before we get to that part, I'd like to ask you to share with us why you're incarcerated and why do you think that you should have a chance for early release?
I'm incarcerated because I committed several crimes. I was 17 years old at the time. 43 years old now. Multiple victims. I've been arrested several other times. Not just this one incident. For felony theft, criminal property damage, simple burglary, aggravated burglary, aggravated oral sexual battery, and aggravated rape. I admitted to them crimes and I pled guilty for them crimes. It doesn't lessen the fact that what I did. And I'm truly sorry for the people that I've hurt and for the victim I have. If there was any way for me to take it back, I would. I've tried to make amends to everybody, including my victim, by giving back to my community here in the prison. Sometime over the past 25 years, I figured that I needed to make a change. And it was around the time I lost my uncle while I was on extended lockdown for gambling. And I understood I was putting my parents through too much. So I've tried to go forward since then. And I've done everything that I could possibly think of to make amends, including educate myself. I have a GED. I have 2 technical diplomas in Northwestern, North Louisiana Technical College for automotive technologies and construction. I have multiple NCCR certifications. I'm a certified NCCR instructor. Here at the facility, I teach core, I teach field safety, safety technologies, fall protection. I try to help everybody that I could within my community, including myself and them. The skills that I try to teach them are life-giving skills that are applicable to re-enter in society. Just this morning, I had a guy before I came up here tell me that, man, Roy, I need help getting in the NCCR. These guys want my help. They tried to come to me before they ever come put in applications for it. And I do my best to help everybody I can. This is the person that I am today. I'm not that same kid that committed them crimes. I try to help people. And I try to move forward with my life, and it's hard. But yeah, I've matured over the years. I have residence in St. Tammany Parish. I'm not going back to DeSoto Parish. Lorraine Williams has an apartment complex. It's agreed to rent me a room. I have a job waiting on me, working at a lumber mill. Like I said, I would love to move forward from this position if it's possible. Thank you.
Warden, you have some comments to make?
I guess, Mr. Ledoux, I think Roy pretty much spelled it out. You know, he's achieved quite a bit. Not only self-help, but with helping others in the facility. As he said, he's a facilitator and a tutor in a lot of things. And one thing he didn't mention, you know, he has taken all the required sex offender treatment programs, and he's also a facilitator with the program. So, you know, not a lot of guys really go that far with it. Facilitators, you know, so a lot of times it's out of embarrassment or shame, but he's taking that step, and so again, helping others. He is currently enrolled in our victim impact program. I think he has about 2 weeks left to complete that. So my recommendation would be, no matter what the board decides today, he complete that program. Thank you.
At this time, I would want to hear from your support system. You have your nephew, Zachary Short, Cynthia Short, your sister, who is with Zachary, and then Gary, all a friend. Go ahead, Zachary, if you want to go ahead and lead off.
Yes, I would like to see him out from behind bars. He has multiple certifications behind his name. He can be a very, very productive member. Like he was stating, he has a job at the lumber mill. He could be a very good employee there, a very valuable employee there, teaching, helping people learn, helping people stay safe, and building the company's safety record. And I would like to see him out also, because I grew up going to visit him at 2 facilities. I would like to visit him out from behind bars and make memories out of a penitentiary. He did wrong. He has showed remorseful for it. I believe he is very sorry for what he done. He's lost so much behind bars, but he can also get out and build his life from there on, do better, and create a great life for himself and others.
Would your mother like to speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. My name is Cynthia Short. I'm Roy Manasco's sister. I'm a little emotional today. My apologies. My little brother has been locked up in prison since he was 17. Just young, dumb, stupid boy. Made bad decisions. My heart felt to the family and to the victims. I have watched him grow up over the years in prison, seeing the changes in him. A young boy become a man. I watched him educate himself. I've watched him grow. I've watched his heart grow. It is very unfortunately, both of our parents have passed before he's been released from prison. And I know he misses them. And my apologies again for being emotional. But I do love him. I love him with all my heart. My sister's not able to be here today. She's not in good health, his other sister. We do have a small knit family that is very close. He has an excellent support system with a good friend that's helping him find housing and a job that's already helped him find it. There is me and my son and my sister that can also help him. We do live in Texas, but we are very mobile. We can go see him anytime. He also, his heart has changed. I have watched his heart and his mind change over the last 25 years. From a young boy that was just confused and dumb to a grown man that can stand on his own. Even if he had no friends and had no family, he has helped educate himself while he's in there. And he's no threat to nobody and no one anymore. I feel that with loss and with love, he will be a great asset to people and to his community, no matter where he's at. And may God's will be done.
Thank you very much.
And you'll have hard decisions to make.
Gary, are you prepared to make a statement to the panel? I think you're still on mute.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. How you doing? Yeah, my name's Gary Off, and I've known Junior for about 15 years. I did time. I'm a registered sex offender. I was in prison for not registering, and I've known Junior. And since I've been out, I came to Lacombe, and I lived at Miss Lorraine Williams' place where Junior's going to go, if you guys let him. And they have a great facility there. I've been out since 2018. They have a great sex offender treatment program here in St. Tammany Parish, Truth 180, and they help people very much. And the parole officers here really help the people that are sex offenders or on parole. And I've been in contact with him. I've been putting money on his Secures account for the last 7 years. And I've been in contact with his sister for the last 5 years, and other friends that were not able to get online with Zoom this morning, but they are watching. And I've been mentoring Junior for the last 7 years, and while I was in prison, I went to college, trade classes and all that. But I'm a self-employed independent contractor, and he's got work with me too, if he doesn't like the job there. But I got a vehicle and a house and all that. So he's got a great support system out here, and St. Tammany has a great support system for registered sex offenders. And Miss Lorraine watches her facility real close, and it's real nice place, and there's no craziness going on there. And I believe he deserves a chance. He's been locked up for a long time. He's a nice guy, and like I said, I've been talking with him for 7 years now, telling him how the real world is, about what it takes. You got to work and all that, and be a productive citizen of society. And thank you very much for your time.
Well, I commend you on your success.
Thank you. I'm trying to unmute it, but I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Before I vote, I need to put some other information on the record for the reasoning of my vote. And basically, it's the details of the crime, which is one of the most disturbing things I've ever come across since I've been on the parole board. It says on May 29th, 1999, Mr. Mancuso, 17 years old, and Joseph Schooler unlawfully entered the home of Lois Swanson, who was 74 years old and terminally ill with cancer. She was a widow. Mancusa found her, or whatever, I'm sorry about the pronunciation of your name, found her lying in bed, removed her clothes, and performed oral sex on her, and inserted his fingers, and then climbed on top of her and attempted to insert his penis into her. Schooler tried to get him to stop, but he couldn't. The victim pleaded for help. In an attempt to comfort her, Schooler held her hand while you continued to assault her for 10 minutes before being persuaded to leave. And I thought that was bad. I thought that was really horrible. But then when we got the reports from the victim's family about what she told her two sons you had said while you were committing the crime, which I'm not going to quote right here because it's just too disgusting. For those reasons, I have to deny you parole due to the extreme law enforcement, and also there's opposition from the judge, the DA, the sheriff, the chief of police, and the attorney general to this release. And there's strong opposition from the victim's two sons who live out of state and couldn't make it here today. And due to the age and the health of the victim at the time you committed the rape, I just have to vote to deny you. So.
Mr. Prater.
I concur.
Mr. Manasco, you demonstrate an excellent process of rehabilitation. You know, yes, you committed a horrible crime. And I hear your remorse and I hear the plans going forward. I vote you need a unanimous vote. I'm going to vote to deny, but I hope that you write back. You still have time to write back. I hope you write back. I think that you should feel good about your steps forward. Okay. So today that concludes our business there at Raymond Board. It's 12:45 and we're signing off. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.